The African National Congress supporters filled the Orlando Stadium this afternoon in celebration of the party's 105th anniversary. President Jacob Zuma delivered the January 8 statement to a packed podium. Now, President Zuma urged South Africans to emulate former ANC President Oliver Tambo. He said Tambo stood for unity of the ANC and the broader as well as non-racialism. The rally sets the tone and direction for the year. This year's theme is Unity in Action. President Jacob Zuma has called on its members to unite against the common enemies of poverty, unemployment and inequality.
We must unite against our common enemies, which are unemployment, poverty, and inequality, and not against one another. The ANC leagues, the ANC Women's League, Youth League, and Veterans League are at the call phase of representing the specific interests of their constituencies within the movement. They must lead programs that unite the people. Our task is also to unite the alliance as directed by O.R. Tambo at the funeral of Comrade Moses Mabhida, to guard it jealously and not to tear ourselves apart. We also call for the unity of the South African people across the political spectrum. We can disagree as South Africans, but still engage one another respectfully as compatriots. Comrades, we must also continue building a non-racial society. Apartheid entrenched artificial divisions and distrust between the people based on race and ethnicity. South Africans know the danger of racism, and we must actively fight against the demon of racialism, ethnicity, jealousies, and divisions, as well as all other backward tendencies. Comrades, work continues to build a better life. South Africans have said we must grow the economy so that jobs can be created, that we must fight crime and corruption, and that the land should be returned to our people. We have heard our people, and radical economic transformation remains at the core of our economic strategy. More decisive steps must and will be taken to promote greater economic inclusion and to advance ownership, control, and real leadership of the economy by black people.
Meanwhile, the Orlando Stadium was packed to capacity. ANC supporters from provinces neighboring Gauteng have joined the party's birthday celebrations. Hundreds tried gaining access to the stadium that was already full to capacity. Supporters tried pushing through the gates. Supporters have traveled all the way from Northwest, Limpopo, Mpumalanga and KwaZulu-Natal to attend. Cuban representatives also attended the ANC 105-year anniversary celebrations. Earlier on, our acting political editor, Sophie Mkwena, spoke to Cuban ambassador to South Africa, Carlos Fernandez.
For us, it was impossible to miss the birthday of the ANC. People of Cuba feel for South Africa and feel for with the ANC is a relationship that was built during the difficult times of struggle. So even today, we can feel that the origin and the core of our relationship is through the ANC. So for us, this celebration is very important.
The celebrations come barely months after the passing on of President Fidel Castro. The ANC president was there in his capacity as the president of the country. In terms of the relations between the two countries, are we likely to see strong bonds continuing?
Well, first I should say that the people of Cuba hold an immense appreciation for the sentiments of solidarity that were conveyed by South Africa. First, through the president of the country and the president of the ANC, by other officials that visited Cuba at the moment of the funeral ceremonies, but also by the many events that took place in South Africa in expression of solidarity. And we feel that that is an expression of the kind of relationship that we have. Of course, the people of Cuba will continue committed to this relationship. It's a relationship that began under the leadership of Fidel Castro, but is something that is embraced by the Cuban Revolution and by the people of Cuba in general.
Turning to Cuba internal matters, are we likely to see a change of policy going forward after the passing on of the revered leader Fidel Castro?
A change of policy towards South Africa, of course not. But also the people of Cuba continue committed to building socialism. That is a commitment of the people. It's a commitment of the leadership of the revolution, and that is what we plan to do. Of course, we have to make transformations. We are self-aware of that. We've adopted important decisions within the party and within the government in that direction, but not to change the socialist character of the nation, and of course not to change what has been the tradition and the priorities of the foreign policy of the Cuban Revolution.
Turning to America in particular, are we going to see a different approach with the incoming President Donald Trump?
We have to see. We have to wait and see how he will act as a president. On the part of Cuba, which is what I can talk about, we have the full determination and the willingness to continue to strive towards a more civilized, a more respectful, and a friendly relationship, if possible, with the United States.